covering mental health in a rep. So like if you guys have any questions, feel free to like approach any one of us.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I am the GSO second year rep.
I am Gia, treasurer, and please welcome any questions as well. JY2251 at NYU.
Hi everyone, my name is Vera. I'm the second year school counseling representative. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'd be more than happy to help you. I'm Sheena. I'm online school counseling second year student.
Hi, I'm Doris. I'm a first year mental health and counseling representative.
Okay, so before the panelists introduce themselves, I just wanted to say that you can raise your hand and ask them a question. If you have no questions, we're just going to have one of the moderators read some questions that were frequently asked, just so everyone's on the same page with their internship process. So I'll hand it off to you guys. Just to introduce yourself.
Okay, you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay, my name is Ricky. I'm an international student from El Salvador. I'm in the counseling and mental health program at NYU, and I'm interning at a site called Crime Victims Treatment Center. It's part of Mount Sinai West and St. Luke's hospitals, and primarily our population is victims of crime, so we deal with survivors of trauma in all of its different varieties.
I'm Lucas, second year student in counseling. I am at Baruch College Counseling Center. So the population is college students, various different ages. It's primarily international. It's an international campus, so we get a lot of international students from a variety of different issues: anxiety, depression, things like that.
Hi, I'm Ashante. I'm a counseling and wellness student and also LGBT cert. I'm interning at the Center for Empowerment in New Jersey, and I work with survivors of sexual violence.
Hi, I'm Natty. I'm a second year in the mental health and wellness program. I intern at a school called Linden Hill High School, but it's situated on a residential campus. So the students who attend all have mental health diagnoses and often histories of trauma and neglect.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a second year in this bilingual school counseling program, and I'm working or interning at a school called Information Technology High School, which is a high school in Queens that serves predominantly Spanish students.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I am in the school counseling program, second year, getting my LGBT cert, and I currently have a split internship between Veritas Academy at high school and Castlewood in elementary school in Queens.
Thank you guys. So if you guys have any questions to ask them, feel free.
So Jackie said you have a split internship.
Yes.
I've only heard rumors that that's kind of frowned upon. How did you get that to happen? What was the process, and what's your experience been so far?
Okay, so it was definitely a little bit more challenging. So essentially, we were told that you can either split your internship and do 2 days a week at one site and 1 day a week at the other site, which I am currently doing, and I'm following both sites throughout the whole school year. But I've heard that you can also split your sites by doing the first semester at one site and then the second semester at the other site. So it really depends. But I understand if you're also not from New York, if you're looking to intern in New Jersey or something, you need 2 sites. For California, New Jersey you do not. But it generally depends. I would definitely go for more clarification. If you're looking for out-of-state certifications, there's more nuances involved. Also, I feel like it's relatively simple. Like you apply the same, you go on the same interviews, you then just explain to your supervisors that you'll be doing 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and you just see if it is the right fit for you.
It's like the supervisor where 1 day a week, were they kind of bummed it was only 1 day a week, or what's the general vibe around that?
So where I'm doing 1 day a week is actually in elementary school, and a lot of elementary schools do not have full-time guidance counselors. So the site that I'm at, she's only there 2 days a week, so she actually preferred that I was only coming in 1 day a week.
I'll actually add, so when I was interviewing with my supervisor, she specifically told me she didn't want part-time interns, so that's something to be like very upfront about when you're interviewing, because they might not always want that at the school.
Are any of it sites that were not part of the database? And if so, can you explain a little bit of that process of getting that approved and, getting all the qualifications in line with what they have here, right? It's like it's not part of our information.
Well, I'm from New Jersey, and I didn't want to have a site in New York because the commute would be too long for me. So I looked specifically at sites that were in New Jersey that aligned with what I wanted to do, specifically in trauma. And basically the process was I reached out to my state, told her that this site I want to apply for. I told her multiple sites, like I want to apply for the center up in Parliament, I want to apply to the LGBT Pride Center, I want to apply to the Children's Foundation, and then she reaches out to them to give them what our guidelines for having an intern at their site. You just have to make sure that the person that you come in contact with is certified to supervise us. But as long as that is fine, then Maxine usually approves it. She takes about a couple weeks or so to make sure that she approves it. You may not, it's okay that you didn't get an interview or anything for it. It's just important that you let her know that you're applying for this site and you want her to send the information from NYU because they have to start a contract between NYU and the site for you to be able to work there. So the process was a little complicated, but not really. As long as you just stayed on top of it, you let her know which site you wanted to apply for.
So obviously the sooner the better. Then.
Yeah, the sooner the better. Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of the timeline of the application process? Talk us through how you did it, when you emailed Maxine about, trying to get a new site, when you went on interviews, when you got your job offer, when you confirmed, all of that.
I want to say a quick story about that. So I interviewed at a site that was in South Jersey, and it wasn't really an interview. The lady, also be careful about where you reach out and make sure that they're not sketchy because that could happen. That happened to me. I reached out to the site and was like, I want to work for you guys, be an intern, send my resume, and a week later they were like, okay, sure, come in and fill out paperwork and you have internship. I had no interview, nothing. They didn't even ask me about my qualifications. So that process was really quick. But for the center where I work now, the process was very long. I emailed her in January, and she didn't get back to me until maybe March or April that she wanted to interview me. And then in April, right before, I don't remember what our deadline was for Maxine, but Maxine was like, you have to have it verified by this date, and she was like, the date of Maxine's verification was when she was going to interview me. So Maxine has very strict deadlines, but at the same time, if your site is not going to interview you until a certain time period, then you don't really have a choice, and then that's where you want to go. So my process was kind of long in terms of
January to April.
Yeah.
I would take advantage of reaching out as soon as you get the database. Start thinking about what kind of sites am I interested in, so that when you get the database, you can kind of sort through it and say, these are places that I want to apply. For some people, they went on interviews and they got the first interview that they had, and the process was really quick and ended in February. Other people, my situation, I applied to a few, went on an interview and didn't get it, which can be really discouraging. So I think I would encourage you to think of it as a competitive process, because it is. They're not just handed to you. Many people are applying. So then I went out and did another round of interviews, got 2 acceptances, and so now I'm at a site that I love. But it did take a little bit longer to find for me. So I think I was secured in April. And sometimes you have to follow up with people. They'll email you saying yes, you're interested, you send over your resume and cover letter, and then there'll be some time in between and you have to say, you know, hi, did you get my materials? I'd love to meet with you. So you have to kind of be on top of it, for sure.
And be persistent.
Okay.
I would also encourage like actually going to the site and just getting kind of a feel about it, because I mean I know you might want to wait until the interview, but if you really know kind of what you're getting yourself into. I did that with so my process was much quicker. I started applying around January, applied to 3 or 4 places, and the first one that my top choice called me for an interview early March, and I found out right when I got home, so yeah.
So when you say like go and see the feel for it, like at a school, you like walk around the outside of the school?
Yeah, and I mean I would even ask, like, can I get a tour, or can you tell me a little bit about the internship program here? Yeah, really, because they want you just as much as you want them. It's free labor, so.
And ask people who are already in internship, like how they feel about their sites, because that's very helpful as well, because if you can see like the site maybe on the database, you're like, I've been doing work there, but I'm not sure. And then the person who actually was there can tell you how they felt in that environment and can tell you if it's like cool or not, or if it was very informative for them, if they learned a lot. And in terms of the story that I said earlier about the sketchy site, I went to the site and it was even more sketchier than when I talked to them through email, so it is important that you go to the site. And obviously I didn't get a chance to go there like beforehand to like explore outside. I went to fill out paperwork, but it was not great. And after that, I left and I was like, you're not gonna do these anymore things. Bye. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just to like piggyback off of everyone, I mean, you guys are all here, so I'm guessing you're very active people, but like take this process very, very seriously, right? Like it's very easy to put it on the back burner and to just kind of like coast through school and do whatever, but at the end of the day, it's definitely the most important learning experience that you'll have during your entire 2 years. And I've heard from a lot of people about them being very dissatisfied with their site and like the professionalism, right? To like Lucas' point, go visit, like do your research, be invested, because it might seem like a lot and it might seem like a huge effort, but at the end of the day, if you don't put it in during those months, you're gonna spend an entire year at a place where you're maybe not gonna like or like not learning. So like it's like exhausting and stressful, but like it matters a lot. So like invest yourself in the process. That's
You have a hand right here, but before you ask your question, I quickly want to define what you mean by sketchy. Is that like trying to work you excessively? What defines a sketchy site?
In terms of what I viewed as sketchy in that site was the fact that they didn't even ask me. I wanted to work specifically with trauma survivors, and I have a huge background of working with trauma survivors on my resume. But I can look great on paper, but if you don't, for me personally, I feel if you don't interview me, my personality can be crap. But like on paper, I can look perfect. So if you're just accepting me just based on what you see, and you never, and also I didn't meet the person who told me that I got the job. They just were like, okay, you can come to this case and you have the internship. But I didn't meet this person. They didn't interview me. I didn't talk to them. Like that's what I mean by sketchy. Like it was all via email, and I know we live in a world where everything is technology, but it's like when you meet someone on Catfish and you get catfish. Like you just have to be careful around like how you approach where you're gonna go, because I think that sets the tone for how your internship will be.
Is there some sort of forum that has like past schools or agencies where like second year's work that we can like look at and then reach out to those students or look into those schools?
No, Facebook page.
No, but I would definitely recommend reaching out to your mentor if you have one, or getting in contact with a friend who has one, because we all pretty much know each other by now, know generally where our sites are. So if someone came to me and was like, oh, I'm really interested in working in a hospital setting, like I know a few people in the program who are in a hospital setting, so I could kind of try to connect you at least, say, is your site looking for someone, my mentee is looking for a site, you know, so just like at least taking advantage of like connections of people that you know.
And also, if you know exactly which site like you're interested in, email Maxine, and she has a list of who's where. So if you know where you want to go.
And the Facebook NYU Steinhardt Counseling Association, I leave crap on here all the time. Like, have you guys taken this class? Have you done this? Have you done that? And a lot of people will respond, especially not just from like who's in the program right now, but like from past years. So it is really great to join that group.
I agree, it's a really great resource. I think also some professors are in the group and they post like some job stuff, so it's a really great resource for you guys to utilize as well.
What was the name of that again?
NYU, the Student Counseling Association, Steinhardt Counseling Association.
Counseling Association.
Where can we find information about what restrictions are on sites if we do want to pick somewhere outside of the database once we look at it? Is there a place that we can go to find information on like what kind of a site would be allowed and what wouldn't?
Well, the handbook tells you specifically like what you're supposed to gain from the site. So that's how I gauge if the site was appropriate for me or not. And you can also ask Maxine, because she also verifies if the site is appropriate or not, if they fit our standards for New York State law.
And do you know if there are any restrictions on like whether it's like a private?
No, I don't think it's a restriction. Like my site is a government state organization, but I don't think so. Yeah.
Thank you.
I heard that some internships are paid and some are not. Is that totally false?
My understanding is not that's paid.
No.
But I do know someone who's in our program who does get paid for the internship, but like you have to like negotiate that with your site so that they're not taking advantage of you, but also paying you for what you deserve. So I think it depends on the site. But I think that's rare. Huh?
No, you guys.
No, I think it's very rare. It's allowed. It's allowed, but it's like
At the school level, I don't think it's allowed. It's definitely not allowed if you're in a school to be paid by the DOE. No way.
I wouldn't expect it. Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
What was the interview process like? Who did you email to get that interview? Like, who did you send your resume to? And then, like, how many rounds? Any resume tips?
So on the database, there will be like the name of the site, a short description, and then the contact person. Some of the people email me back saying, oh, I no longer work here, or we're full with interns. So I send out emails saying, hi, my name is Madeline Fisher, I'm in the counseling program, blah, blah, blah. Are you accepting interns? And then if they said yes, email them back my resume.
Okay.
Or if they said, we are, but contact this person instead. Or we are, but we're not doing it till March. So you'll just at least have a little bit more information before you do the whole thing. That's at least my advice.
And then how did the interview?
Oh, just to add on to her note, don't rely on the database having all the information that you need because like you said, some of the emails that are on there don't work or like you'll email them a million times and no one will respond, so call to make sure that you have the right email that you're emailing or wherever you're supposed to send the information because otherwise you'll just be sending it into the universe and nothing will come back to you. For me, I had 3 interviews and I thought it would be more scary than it actually was, but it wasn't. It was just they asked me about my past work experience. I was a part-time student, and then I switched to full-time, so my part-time work was all working in the field. So they asked me a lot about working in the field, and odd questions, not really odd questions, but it was more like about me and not about the program. So it wasn't scary.
And you're not in school, right?
No, I'm in yeah.
How about you guys working in schools? What was the process like for you?
It was actually really similar. So for me, my supervisor had to be bilingual certified and the database didn't really have that information. So I would call a school to see if I was even applying to a site that would like fulfill the requirements for my program. And then I would just email the counselors my resume and like a cover letter and a short email about who I was, and some of them got back to me, some of them didn't. And then the interview process, yeah, it's the same thing. You go and you speak with the counselors. They don't really ask you about so much about like the program because you're there to learn, so they're not testing your knowledge. They just want to see if like you'd be a good fit for the team that's already in place at the school, and if you like vibe well with the people that like are already there, because like that's really important. You don't want to just go to a site that you're going to be uncomfortable at.
I had 7 people interviewing me on the first interview.
All at once?
Yeah, they all sat in a room at once and just stared at us. And everyone got to ask questions. So it was a little intimidating. So I was like, and yeah, they told me only 2 people were, and then I came and they were like, oh, we're going to join the whole staff is going to come. I was like, okay, cool.
And you said you went on 3, is that for 3 separate sites or 3 rounds?
3 rounds for one job, yes. And then they told me on the last one that I got it. It was very competitive. They only accepted students from Rutgers, and they've never accepted outside of Rutgers. So I was their first NYU student, so they were like, oh yeah, you're up against another person. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna win.
How about in schools? Did you guys have 1 round or more than 1 round?
It was 1. I had 1.
Both had 1?
Yeah.
I had like a weird thing because my site, we had to send our applications first to Maxine, and then she kind of filtered through those, and she chose 5 people to send over to my site, and then from those 5 people they chose 2, so I had like a double NYU filter interview thing, and then it was just the 1 interview, so it was really weird.
I will say I did go on a few that were more than, or a couple interviews that were more than just sort of getting to know each other. I did go on a couple that were pretty rigorous in terms of what's your knowledge about this population. We did like a few role-playing scenarios. So I would definitely go prepared for the interviews for sure. And then at least, the best case scenario is it's not as rigorous.
And my interview was a group interview, and I've heard that that's very common in the internship process, so not that that'll happen to you, but be prepared for that as well.
Did they ask you for references?
Yes.
Yes, do you?
On my resume, but no, they didn't ask for like letters of reference.
Yeah, I had them on my resume, but I don't believe they contacted anyone.
Interesting.
Saw a hand back there moments ago. Okay, maybe not. Over here.
Do you guys have a question over here?
I actually wanted to ask about references.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, I guess in general, but specifically, if you guys could talk about it for schools, what's a good number of sites to apply to? Like, how many schools would you apply to?
So there are not as many bilingual sites, so I only applied to like 5, I think.
Okay.
But I think that's a really low number. I would not recommend applying only to 5.
I only applied to 3.
I would say maybe like 7 to 10. I mean, I don't know. What about?
Yeah, I mean, I applied to, I think, 10
Yeah.
or 11 schools, and I heard back from you before.
Okay.
So it just really depends on your background.
And you won't hear back from all of them, so apply to them.
Yeah.
Thank you. What did your schedules look like in terms of classes and internship? Like, how many days, like, how many classes are you taking and how long?
Right now, like,
Oh, yeah, I guess you're doing it now.
I'm taking 5 classes and I live here and I commute to Westchester for my internship. So it is possible to take 5 and to commute an hour and a half away, but I'm so tired and I would not recommend it. It's a lot to take 5.
I'm taking 4, and I have classes on 3 days a week, and then internship on the other days. So I have internship on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. My site's awesome because I have the Saturday day, and there's some sites that do have this one. Most of them don't. But yeah, I try to take the internship, its own section, and then classwork.
I take 3 classes and I'm doing 20 hours at internship, but I also have a part-time job. So
time with days off, but.
I did something kind of weird, so I like loaded up a ton of classes beforehand so that I could kind of like not have many this year, but I still ended up taking like 4 this semester, so I'm like at internship 2 days that I also have class and then 1 day that I don't have class, but then next semester, my last semester, I'm only taking 1 class in internship.
So school follows like a very similar format. I take 5 classes, I intern full days, 2 days a week, and then I still squeeze in working part-time. The working part, it's really tough. Like if you have a flexible boss that will work with you in your hours, then it's doable, but it's tough.
I'm only taking 4, I'm not taking 5 classes, and it is, if you can schedule your classes to be on the same days that are not the same days as your internship days, I would recommend that. It's very difficult to come into NYU for class on the same days you're doing your internship, because like by the end of the day you're exhausted and you have to come back to class. So if you can like stack them, that's what I did for this semester. I was unable to do that for next semester.
And something to note that it should be obvious that I didn't realize it last year is that for school counseling, you can obviously only intern Monday through Friday.
Right.
Like for example,
We can't do weekends.
yeah, we can't do the weekend, we can't do night. So that's something to like think about if you have a part-time job, if you have other commitments, the kind of classes you want to take. So we are technically kind of limited with, 8 to 3 p.m.
And yeah, school hours like start around 8 and around 3, like give or take half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on like if it's elementary school or high school.
So can you do you have to do like full days in the school? Can you do like 3 hours a day?
You can do half days, but if it's possible for you to do full days, I think that's better. Just because if you're only doing half day at the site, if you're not really getting the experience of the full day, and like a lot happens in a day. If you're only there for like 3 hours, it's really not that much time. It is possible people do have half days, but I think the experience of full days is better.
Well, you also have to be careful hours-wise, so you need to complete the 300 hours within 15 weeks. Like that's your time frame. So if you wanted to split it half day, you would have to do 4 to 4.5 hours a day each day during the week in order to make the time frame. And you also need to really account for holidays, so DOE scheduled time off. You need to keep an eye out. Staying on top of the hours, I'm telling you right now, it's really tough with scheduled time off.
And if you work in a state organization where they're closed on state holidays, you have to make that time up. So keeping that in mind as well.
What type of work are you doing day to day? Like, do you have a caseload of students? Are you always being supervised, or are you ever like doing counseling alone in groups or with students? What's a typical day?
For me, it really varies on the day. So I see my students that I see regularly every Wednesday, and then like Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's like whatever pops up, we deal with, or we do like random academic counseling with students that we're just like doing throughout the year. Like things on ATS and CSIS and STARS, which are just like programs that the DOE uses to organize like student schedules and services they have. So it's like a mix between counseling and administrative work.